It is Memorial Day today, and I am going to do a video and talk about survivors and citizenship for military family members. And we'll talk about family-based survivor benefits, okay? Because today is Memorial Day, and the only thing we can do is talk about this and pretty much sending love to the families of the people that have served this country, okay? As we remember them, we want to send love and we want to provide information, of course, to help out with their applications. Let's get with citizenship for military family members. So basically, with this one, spouses of U.S. service members may be eligible for expedited naturalization outside of the United States. And then children of service member may also be eligible for naturalization or may be eligible to automatically acquire citizenship. For information on the general naturalization requirement and procedure for spouses of a U.S. citizen who do not qualify for expedited naturalization outside the United States, that's when you go here. But the only point I wanted to make is that when it comes to spouses of U.S. service members, they have what is called expedited naturalization process. So basically it is going to take it's going to be quicker than the regular person. That's one of the benefit that they actually have. And it says like really they can do it, they can get their US citizenship as quick as possible, like not like the normal process that everybody else will go through. That's one of the benefit that they have. If you want more information, please call my office again, 22751-2180. So that's the first point. Okay, if you read through it, then it's gonna say you go here, say expediting processing. It's like we might also consider expedited processing in other unique cases. For example, if a U.S. service member is deploying and needs to update the family care plan, however, we cannot guarantee that they will grant every expedite request, but really it's like case by case basis, but they have this benefit to actually get an expedited naturalization process going for them. Okay, military spouses who are under active duty, spouse of permanent change of status, order must contact this line or this one to tell the team, to let the team know that they are moving according to military orders. So they have special basically special treatment when it comes to it. That's what I wanted to say. Expedited naturalization process for spouses of service members. That's the first benefit you get. Okay, and then it goes on for children, adjustment of status, for pretty much when we talk about military family members, we're talking about immediate family member, spouses, children, and parents. That's it. Those are the people who actually get those special treatment. Okay, and they have in fact have even a special treatment when it comes to naturalization process. It goes faster, expedited request basically for naturalization. Now let's talk about family-based survivors. Today's Memorial Day. Basically, that's the reason we're doing the actual thing. So to talk about survivors, family-based survivor benefit. What are the benefits? Naturalization for surviving relatives of U.S. citizen service member. It says if you are the spouse, child, or parent of deceased U.S. citizen service member who died during a period of honorable service, you might be eligible for naturalization. Okay, And then you must be a lawful permanent resident and meet the other general naturalization requirement, except for the residence or physical presence requirement in the U.S. So basically, you can get your naturalization outside of the U.S. It can be expedited as well, but you have to meet the other general requirement. Okay. If you were the spouse of the deceased service member, you must have been living with your spouse at the time of the death, unless you lived apart because of circumstances beyond your control, such as your spouse's military service. So if your spouse must have lived with him at the time of death, unless he had to be deployed and you actually living basically on your own, based on circumstances beyond your control. So that's what they're saying. And then we go adjustment of status. Basically, you can use the form I-360 within 2 years of your relative death. So if let's say the spouse has died already, and now you are the survivor. Remember, we're talking about the survivor. Really, the benefits of the surviving service members. What is required when it comes to the spouse? It says that your service member spouse served honorably in an active duty status in the U.S. Armed Forces. Your spouse died as a result of injury or disease incurred or aggravated by combat. You were not legally separated. Okay, this is so important. You were not legally separated from your spouse at the time of the death. You filing a petition form I-360 within 2 years. Okay, and then you do not remarry before obtaining permanent residence based on your relationship to your U.S. spouse. That's really when you file that form I-360 petition to get your adjustment of status, right? And then if you're a child, it says your service member will serve honorable relative, which is your parent, right, in active duty status in the U.S. Armed Forces. Your relative died as a result of injury, disease, incurred or aggravated by combat, and you're filing a petition within 2 years of your relative death. That's for the child. Now this one is, let's say that the surviving relative of lawful permanent resident service member granted after death, posthumous citizenship. Let's say that the person who served in the military has gotten that citizenship after they die. You can still apply, provided you meet those 3 requirements. That the first one is that the person served honorably in an active duty status in the U.S. Armed Forces, died as a result of injury or disease incurred in or aggravated by combat, and were granted posthumous citizenship. Okay, so those are the things, and that again, it goes for the child, that's the spouse, the child, the same thing pretty much. You can go ahead and read it. I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you can go ahead and read it. But the most important discretionary options that I wanted to talk about, we want to talk about 2 things here: parole in place and defer action. Maybe we'll talk about Filipino too, but parole in place and defer action, those are the benefits, really discretionary options for military members, enlistees, and their families. So if you are a military member or you are a family of a military member, okay, by family we mean child, spouse, and parent, immediate family. Parole in place is basically a relief, discretionary of course, but it is a relief that is granted in 1 year increment. If you are a spouse, widower, we're talking about memorial, so widower, parent, son or daughter of an active duty member of the U.S. Armed Forces, individual in the selected reserve of the ready reserve, or individual who, whether still living or deceased, previously served on active duty or in the selected reserve of the ready reserve and was not dishonorably discharged. Okay, and what is that? What is parole in place? Parole in place simply means that it's allow a foreign national who came into the United States without authorization by an immigration officer to stay for a certain period of time. Parole in place is granted on case-by-case basis. It is a discretionary measure, but it is granted to military members or their families member. Basically, if somebody's, remember, parole is permission to enter, right? But parole in place is like permission to enter and stay here for a period of time. It can be granted in 1 year increments. So you get 1 year and then they renew it and then they renew it and so forth. Just like some people have TPS. So it keeps being renewed. It's renewable, but it is discretionary and it is granted. Those are the benefits. If you know somebody, please let them know that they can get that as a type of benefit, really, to if they're undocumented, so they can get at least some type of work permit and some type of benefit to just work and live in the United States. So that's something that they have. And then it says that if you enter lawfully but overstay your visa, you cannot be applying for parole in place. Okay, so and then how do you apply for it? You complete the form I-131, application for travel document, but you have to write military PP, parole in place, in part 2 instead of checking a box. Okay, and then you have to provide those type of evidence: marriage certificate, documentation of termination of previous marriage, son and daughter's birth certificate, military birth certificate with parents' name, proof of enrollment in the defense enrollment eligibility reporting system. So you have to be able to provide those evidence in order to benefit for parole in place, really, by applying. Use the form I-131, the travel document. Remember, we've talked about the purpose of this I-131 travel document, but in this case, it just gives you parole, not advanced parole, but parole in place to stay here so that you can just really have some type of lawful presence. Okay, and then they have another benefit which they call defer action, just like DACA, right? Really, defer action is form of prosecutor discretion to defer removal action. So basically, if somebody is a military member or family member of a military and they are in deportation, they can apply for defer action. Okay, pretty much it remove the action, removal of action of deportation against an individual for a certain period of time. If they grant you defer action, the Department of Homeland Security consider you to be lawfully present in the United States, just like DACA. It gives you some type of lawful presence. Okay, for a period of defer action is in effect. Defer action does not give you lawful status, but still give you some type of lawful presence. Does not excuse any past or future period of unlawful presence. Doesn't excuse the past unlawful presence, but the moment they grant you, you become at least lawfully present. Okay, so and then you might be eligible for those people. Again, spouses, widow, parent, son, or daughter. So those are the two things I wanted to reiterate, and those are the evidence that you need to provide in order to be granted defer action or parole in place when it comes to military family member. Okay, so that's it for today. I just wanted to send some love to military members, enlistees, and their families. So basically, veterans, widowers, their children, survivors. So we just wanted to go ahead and just show you what is available for you. Okay, Bijoux.ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. This was US immigration. Until next time, bye bye. I'm going to leave all the links, pretty much one. You can go ahead and just go ahead and go over it. If you have questions, please, consultation fees apply. Just don't hesitate if you really have to know what we can do for you. Okay, until next time, bye bye.